So I'm going to go ahead and go to 4.2 and look to Mr. Coffman here, see if there's any encouraging statements tonight.
So I got a phone call early this week. I guess it was yesterday morning early from a citizen, and she wanted to convey to me that she went to see a friend in a neighboring city, and her friend often comes here to visit her. These folks are well into their retired life, and she wanted to express that her friend in our neighboring city was so in love with our community because of how clean it is. And if you look around, you can see how clean it is. Sure, there's an occasional bag of trash blows out somebody's truck on the highway and it gets cleaned up. And that's kind of what we all expect to happen. But, you know, in other cities that doesn't happen. It just stays there. The power washing after a weekend event on the square just happens here. That doesn't happen everywhere else. We take extreme measures to keep our community clean, and our staff does a great job doing that. So I want to recognize the people that are unnoticed that do that on a regular basis, and we want to appreciate them. That's the Parks Department and the Public Works Department staff that work so hard to keep our community clean. You know, also, other people that work for the city will see trash and pick it up as well, just because they take pride in what they do. So I wanted to mention that. And also, I received an email last week. After the combat veterans were in town, there was about 1,000 combat veterans riding motorcycles, and they came to our town and they spent the weekend. I don't know where all they stayed, but there's 1,000 motorcycles in town. And I got a letter from one of the commanders of that post explaining to us how excited they were, and they want to come back because what? Our community is so clean. And then the other side of that is how friendly everybody was towards them. And I just want to thank the community for that. You can't teach people to be friendly. And but I'll tell you, you see somebody wearing a combat veteran patch on the back of their leather jacket, you've got respect for them because you know what they've done for us. They've given us our freedom. So for our community to roll out the red carpet for them was humbling, and I appreciate that. There's a couple other people I want to recognize tonight, and I don't see Christy here. Is Christy here? Christy Russell? There you are. I want to recognize Christy Russell and Ava Gregory for putting together this ordinance that we're considering tonight for the purchasing policy, procurement rules. I've read through it a couple of times now, and I'm just astounded at how comprehensive that plan is and how well developed it is. And I know how hard they worked on it, and I want to thank them for that. We've needed something like this in our organization for a long, long time. Didn't realize we didn't have an old ordinance to update, and so we created a new one, and these ladies have gone above and beyond to put something together. And to be fair, they also reached out to a consultant that does this, and with that consultant's expertise and experience, we were able to come up with a great ordinance that we're going to be able to use. Besides all that, it's required in our city charter for us to have this ordinance. So I'm excited about the expertise that these two ladies have put together, investing their time and hard work. And I know there was weekends spent on this as well. And just want to thank you two ladies for all your hard work on that. So thank you. That was good. I'll turn it over to y'all.
Okay, Mr. Corrigan, Mr. Rodriguez, anything? Mr. Wadley? See anything this week? Mr. Oliver? Skip? City Attorney here? No.
Go on and on.
Yes, you could, because you see things we don't see. I wanted to comment about the Christmas lights that we're going to have back this year, and not so much about the effort and the planning and the just the challenge that I know that went into putting those lights on the ceiling, or on the what do you call it? Little
courthouse.
Yeah, I know it's a courthouse. Okay, what's that little thing on the top?
Clock tower.
The clock tower, right at the top of the clock tower. And And that was quite a enterprise this past Friday, this past Friday, to watch that being done, and the coordination that it took. But it took me back to 3 years ago, when, I think it was 3 years ago, Mr. Coffman had the guts, literally, to pull the installation crew off of that watchtower because it wasn't safe, knowing that we're going to get a lot of backlash from the community by not having those lights there. And that backlash did occur. We did hear it. We heard it. But I want to congratulate Mr. Coffman and say thank you again for having nothing more than the safety of our employees in mind when you said, well, we're not going to do that. And then I'll thank you and your crew again for the 2.5 years it took to find an engineering company that had the insurance and the skill that could come do this. But this is going to be a glorious Christmas when those lights come on. Mr. Coffman.
Thank you, Mayor. It was a unique situation. I just got to brag, and we will do a proper recognition at another meeting after the lights are completely installed. The contractor that's going to install the actual lights will be here November 4th and 5th to install those lights. But the infrastructure is in place. And if you saw what they used to do the project the right way, you'll understand the safety concerns I had with the installation of the way they've done it in the past. So we're excited to get that done. And while I'm thanking people, I want to thank Michael Ross for knitting all those details together and making it come together. And so we're excited about that. Thank you, Michael, Deputy City Manager, taking the ball and running with that. It took over 1.5 years to find an engineering firm that was willing to crawl up into that clock tower and engineer what we needed to do to be able to hang those cables and those lights on that clock tower. The structural integrity of that clock tower was not designed to hold the weight of those, and it's a miracle that nobody ever received an injury from those cables snapping or that little rail that goes around the top that they were being attached to didn't come loose. It's really a miracle. So anyway, we finally got the hard part done. The lighting crew will be here on November 4th and 5th, and hopefully we'll be able to turn the lights on Good Friday, or Black Friday is I guess what we call it, after the parade or before the parade. So looking forward to that. Thank you all. Appreciate your council support to fund half of the infrastructure and the engineering, and also for the county paying for half of the infrastructure and the engineering. And then the Lake Granbury Beautification Council funding about $49,000 towards the lights to put up there. So it's truly a cooperative effort in our community. And I want to thank the Beautification Council also for decorating those trees around the courthouse square for the 3rd year in a row now. They look beautiful. They're LED, and they changed, and they're going to leave them up through February. So they changed the lights for different holidays, and so they'll be up for the Fall Festival, and they'll probably change them to more of a gold color, I bet. But we've got a lot of good things happening here in our square and on Granbury, and thanks to the people that live here to make it happen.